So Mark, how do you test a camera lens?
So some time ago, XEEN approached me about their new Meister series and about testing their lenses, putting it on the road, putting it on the jobs, and seeing what it can do. But to actually create a lens test was something that really excited myself and really excited me about bringing in the people I know into the test.
Man, if a lens company from Korea asks you to do some tests, you will do it because you love their products and you want to see, are they good enough for me to use it in my next future? But I was excited from day one when Mark told me about this project, and when we started planning it out, the idea was to have fun and test the lenses and see, can we recommend it to other people as well?
As a producer, I look for the most appropriate lens for the feel and the look of the project and to support the cinematographer or DP's vision. And I look for a lot of versatility, especially when shooting in challenging environments. And what I like about these XEEN lenses is that they really provide that. And what's really attractive is that they're in the sort of range as the higher end lenses, but they're quite a bit cheaper, so they can be a really nice economical solution to your production.
Most lens tests that I have seen have always been a pretty girl in a high frame rate, maybe some flares flashing in the sunset. Boring. I wanted to take this into real scenarios, different scenes of different lighting situations, different temperature, weather. So when I brought in all these ideas, I immediately thought of my good friend Raman Sohrab, who's an action stunt director.
Coming out and saying that, then we go screenshot, we go, yeah, that's it.
The first scene, the chase, is going to be testing the physical build of the lens, but as we put the lens through a really rough physical motion on the road outdoors. The second scene is going to be testing things like halation. We're actually going to stop the lens a little wider open and see the halation pour in through some of the windows that are in our scene. We're also going to have some crazy physical movements in that, but it's all going to be handheld rather than strong vibrations that we've seen on a gimbal. And at some point, I am using a diopter to see how it plays out in a macro situation.
All right, we are setting up the fighting scene at this warehouse with Jesse, our stunt coordinator Pepe Karai. It's going to be a fun, epic, hot day, so stay tuned and watch out.
The third scene, which is actually intercut, is within an office where we're going to have the main key of lighting as practical lighting. So we're now up to our second scene, which actually intercuts with the chase. It's very low key. We're embracing the blacks and really testing the T1.3 feature on these lenses. We're going to see what kind of characteristics we're going to get out of them. We're also going to play a lot of red light. Now, red light doesn't really register well. We all know that in the data when we're recording on our digital cameras. So we're going to see what this pops up. I've got about IRE 120 right now, which is actually pretty good for a low key. And I think in post, our blacks will sit around IRE 10. So let's see how these perform. The fourth scene, which we do the sunrise, we're going to see a lot of color come through, a lot of play with the depth of field of the lenses. So we just did a flare test at sunrise. The sun was punching straight in the lens, and the beautiful thing about it was this gorgeous halation that was coming from it. Soft, gentle, and it just touched the edge of the actors. So it just bled slightly into the side of them in the edge light. So yeah, really still impressed with the colors, and again, the consistency across all focal lengths.
We are now in this amazing location in Prague where we just shot some of the dream sequence when the characters go back in time. And this place, like, look at this, come here. Just look at this view. Like, this is what I call cinematic. Lenses are tools, and I think it's the storytelling, it's the actions that you shoot. Whatever you shoot with that lens, that becomes something that the audience can relate to. I don't believe that regular consumer or audience knows so much the difference, but if we do it as a filmmaker, we use the lenses in a beautiful way, it will help the audience to tune in more into the story. So it's all about how you use the lenses and how do you tell your story.
I'm honestly just really impressed with the journey with Samyang Optics, with where they started and where they came. And I really like how they just followed me in my journey as a filmmaker.
The new characteristics of the XEEN Meisters compared to the previous versions of the XEEN CF and the XEEN Classics is again that word consistency. And that word consistency goes across with the color, the breathing, and the distortion. It's been amazing some of the results that we've been seeing, especially on the new 14mm. The distortion is not even noticeable. And of course, color. Color being one of the most consistent things that I have seen across all the focal lengths. Myself and Raman have actually used XEEN on a feature film in the past, Layers of Lies, where we did use it in some specific scenes which really played out well. And now with the Meisters that we've seen color consistency across all focal lengths, these are definitely lenses that I could take on a TV series or a feature film any day. And I think this is something we need to look at not just as in a product, but as in XEEN as a company. They've now gone from a consumer and prosumer level to a professional level, where we have a full set of lenses that are completely consistent, which can be used in narrative to give you visual continuity.
All right, finally, year in making. What was it, a year ago? We were talking about making a lens test for XEEN, do some cool fighting, and we were supposed to shoot this in Dubai, but we decided to come to Prague, and this is a beautiful city with beautiful location, and we're gonna have a blast today. A lot of fight scenes.